Alright. Hey, what's good, everybody? It's your boy, King.Julianno here.
Shalomythehomie, or aka Shalom.
And today we're going to talk about a very long topic, actually. It's kind of late for this, but we thought we might as well just kind of do it, whenever. So as you guys know, I think it was 2 days ago. Today's the 20th?
Yeah.
So 2 days ago has been a year since the rapper / artist XXXTENTACION had passed away. It was the year anniversary. He died at 20 years old, just trying to get a motorcycle, man. He was in Florida, I think it was Deerfield, and he was literally just trying to buy a motorcycle, and two guys literally pulled up on him and shot him dead. They were saying it was a random robbery. Basically, there was never really a full story on how that happened. I always thought it was a little fishy because it had to be planned, and they knew exactly where he was going to be. Very unfortunate, man. I think that his death affected a lot of people, a lot of young people. Despite all the controversy that he does receive, I think a lot of people were pretty sad over this, and it still goes to show, 1 year later, about how people are still affected. So I think it's just one of those really big things. What would you have to say?
Just his story is kind of powerful.
Yeah.
Because, so most of the information that I really know of from him is from, of course, some of the stuff that I've looked up, but I watched, start off, I really didn't know who X was.
Yeah.
So
he was kind of just this random kid on the internet.
Yeah, 2017.
Yeah.
Literally, 2016, 2017?
2016, 2017.
Literally, all I really know, I saw on Instagram, I remember just watching one of those, little clips, or just, a little snippet of a song called Look At Me.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, yo, that song go out, because for me, it was new, right?
Yeah.
Just the whole...
That's just how you like...
Just the whole, bass, and then, because, we'll talk about the whole quality of the music right later. We don't talk about it now, but it's so new, and then just his whole his hair, the dreads. So there's a story behind his dreads too.
Yeah,
and that's the thing too. It's just a story about everything.
Yeah.
But it's recognizable. His hair, the black and blonde.
Yeah.
And then he had his face tattoos. Alone, I believe, bad vibes on
bad vibes on his eyelids.
And just eventually getting 17 tattooed on his I believe it's his left or
his forehead.
Yeah, his forehead. And then he got a tree tattoo eventually. But his story is powerful because not to get back on what I was saying. I watched No Jumper. Because shout out to No Jumper, Adam 22, and all that. But he had there's only a couple of interviews out there. One with the elevator and then one with Adam 22 or No Jumper.
Yeah.
And it was called the XXXTENTACION interview, and it was an hour, and 16 minutes long. And honestly, I watched that. I watched that 10 times. The full thing, And 10
that
times.
was an hour long. And I think what's crazy about that interview is I think there's so many people because you think about it right now, right? So it's been a year since X died. Now he's considered one of the mainstream artists, right? But not many people. I guess a lot of people have, but not many people have seen that interview. And I feel if you watch that interview, you just learn so much about him, the background of his story, why things were the way they were. I think that was definitely one of Adam's best interviews. Adam 22 of No Jumper, who also does a podcast.
Yeah,
I would have to say that was one of his best interviews because you just learn every little thing about X, because a lot of people don't really know about him. What I've seen, it was kind of a stigma lately on the internet is a lot of people will talk all this shit and tell he's this terrible person. I understand all this controversy and bad things, but a lot of them didn't really know who he was as an artist until he died. Yeah. So I think that's one of the biggest things of people just not really knowing their information. But when you go back on YouTube and you dig through some of these interviews, you learn a lot of shit about this kid.
Yeah, he was,
and
really,
you're just holy crap.
Because I believe he was 18.
Yeah,
18
he was only 18.
And then because in the interviews he didn't even say his name, Jose, Dwayne, Ricardo, Onfroy. He didn't say his name. He's the reason why he didn't say his name is because he felt that in his neighborhood that people were low-broing him because of the stuff that he knew.
Yeah.
And he knew a lot of stuff for the age he was.
That's the craziest thing about this whole thing, definitely.
And it's just crazy because in these specific interviews he talks about his mom, talks about how he went from place to place, how how he wanted his mom's attention, but his mom had to do some things. He couldn't really.
She had to hustle out there.
She had to hustle basically,
yeah.
And he was basically being raised in these bad parts in his life.
Yeah, so straight out of South Florida, there's a big old scene over there.
Yeah, we have Ski Mask, Lil Pump,
Denzel
X,
Curry, Wi-Fi's funeral. So many people came out of that scene. A lot of people, like I said, it kind of goes back to the whole interview thing. A lot of people don't realize like how much there was with X before he was mainstream. Like he was kind of like the face of the underground scene for a minute.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like people really looked up to him because he was kind of leading that whole wave of like, I don't know what you want to call it. I don't know if you want to call it SoundCloud rap, or I don't know if you want to call it screamo rap, whatever you want to. But it's like a lot of like distorted bass, 808 kind of stuff.
It's new because around that time, like people were like making like the genre rock, like it was like rap, or it was like hip hop rock or something.
Yeah.
And because it's so new, because the bass,
Bro.
like like some of the instrumentals they use is just a hard hitting bass.
Yeah.
And then like because when X was talking about it, he was like, oh, I was literally just a hustler. You know, like I just got beats from YouTube with my my $20 snow globe, and I was just recording music, and that's why literally me screaming in the mic, it was so bad, but that's what kind of like crafted the art.
And that's what makes it original. You know, like that was one of the things that I always respect about that man is he always kept everything, like he didn't try to sugarcoat anything. Like he was like, hey, I don't need a good studio to record a song or whatever. Like everything was raw.
Yeah.
You felt like every song, like it was just raw energy.
And that's the energy, yeah.
That's the energy you got.
He was talking about it with his friend Ski Mask.
Yeah.
Like, because in the interview, it's so, like, you can tell how dated, because, like, you know, Ski Mask is some god, he's currently kind of, like, a little chunky, but, so basically, just, you can see everybody, like, so in the interview, there's Craig Zan, shout out to Craig Zan, Wi-Fi's Funeral, DJ Scheme, yeah, he had a lot of people in the interview, Ski Mask, and literally just, it was kind of hard, the interview, because, you know, of course, he's trying to talk, and not all the time, but he was kind of getting disrupted by his friend, but like, also everyone was talking too, so it was just like
everyone was talking.
And you know, when like X was saying some crazy stuff that we'll get into, like his friends were like low key like looking at him.
Yeah, no, and I think what people have to realize too is like at the end of the day, like he was really just a kid, man. I mean, he was only like I said, he was only 20 when he died, and like he had, I think I always say this, you know, kind of going back and forth with the topics here, but like I always say to people, like I think, given 4 more years to him to live, he would have definitely been one of the biggest artists.
Yeah, it's kind of like
he was definitely getting to that point.
Yeah.
And I think if people would have just gave him a little more time to grow and mature, he would have been like seen as a better person, especially like in the media, especially in all these things. I'm not excusing anything that might have happened in the past, but I think like obviously like just people, like a lot of people just didn't give him a chance. I mean, he died so fast. He was only popping like really mainstream for like 1 year, and no one really got the chance to see him grow except for a couple months.
It's like if you're really there, you know, like if you're really there since 2016, 2017, then you knew.
Then you knew. But the problem is there's all these people that didn't know about him until like 2018. And when
with the question mark album.
With the question mark album, and they just see his past and whatever, but not like the thing about X is like he came a long way, especially from when he had the black and blonde hair, and then he got the freaking indigo hair or the blue hair, whatever you want to call it.
Wait, should we talk about that now or should we talk about that later?
Yeah, you can bring it up now because
we're kind of like, sorry, this is kind of our first couple podcasts, but literally, so where did we come from, like the album, like the mainstream success, exactly. Right? So basically, his story about his hair just marks different eras of X.
Yeah.
So black and blonde haired X was basically chaotic. It was just. Because before even that, he had like regular black hair.
He just had regular black hair.
And that was his era where like he was kind of like doing his more, what do you would say?
Underground type of stuff.
You know
what I mean? Members only. He was kind of out there.
But then like for his black and blonde hair, the way he described it was he was out here. He was being crazy. He was doing all this stuff.
He's chaotic, and he was just kind of like blowing up too.
Yeah.
Because that's what got him popular. Like I remember back in like was it 2016? Late 2016, the mugshot of X was like viral on Instagram.
Yeah.
Everybody was posting
that's actually where I discovered him. Like even like his username used to be
Heroin Father.
Yeah.
And I remember everybody was saying like free X, and I was like, I don't know what he got locked up for, but you know, you see everybody saying that, and you kind of jump on the bandwagon low key. You know, that exactly. It was like that hairstyle, but like. Everybody was saying that, and I was like, who is this kid? And then, obviously, I kept seeing that Look At Me song on all the memes, and I was like, damn, let's go hard. Like, it's different. It's not like your mainstream kind of rap. It's upbeat. It's distorted. I liked that. You know what I mean?
Even
I was
like,
attracted
take
to that sound.
Take a step back.
Yeah.
Hashtag Sipping Tea in Your Hood. Rip Roach. Like, there's also, like...
All these songs.
Sorry, we're kind of off topic, but, like... Not off topic, but, like, we're everywhere. But, like, his music... If you, like, looked into it... Because people could just assume... Oh, look at me. That's the only type of music he makes. Like, distorted, like making sense, like saying random stuff. Can't keep my pants, like
right.
Or just like he actually had some other music that like was kind of like it was boombastic. He had like he was actually singing, and then
singing
like
music,
like,
R&B.
Like I spoke to the devil in Miami, and he told me that everything will be like fine, right? And then like what's another one? Oh, I don't want to do this anymore. And there's other ones like other like what's. It's just a lot of music.
It's crazy to think about it, bro, because it's just like it's like I always say. I kind of keep coming back to this point, but I feel like everybody should go through his like discography at least once, because there's so much
to know about him.
Things that like to know about him, and so much different kinds of genres of music that he tried to make. I mean, that's why what people don't understand is like. That's why I think he's so respected, and people are going to remember this guy for many years to come, because he was so diverse. I mean, we're in a time right now where rap music is really saturated, right?
Yeah.
Even though X came from that whole like SoundCloud of like distorted wave, a lot of artists are just trying to mimic the same thing over and over again. They're talking about drugs, and all the beats sound the same.
Like, I'm gonna like take your girl.
I'm gonna take your girl.
Like,
I'm gonna flex on
jewelry.
You know what I'm saying? But
like,
I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
Hey, Playboy Cardi go hard though.
Yeah, for real. Shout out to Playboy Cardi, but you know what I'm saying? It's the same thing over and over again. So what people don't understand is like X was kind of like a fresh breath of air, at least for me.
Yeah,
because I was like, damn, this kid is actually different. He's doing
like,
something different.
For me, like I was just listening to Tyler the Creator. He's a good artist. Don't get me wrong, but I was just like, I kind of like wanted to hear something, because at the time, when I really want to go back to that feeling of just listening to Look at Me for the first time or Take a Step Back.
Yeah.
Because it was just so like, it just hit you. But like it was like a breath of fresh air. And look. So we're talking about music, about his music, people weren't expecting what 17 brought to them, because 17 was like an album. Well, I mean, you can give or take some of their reviews for it. You know, people were like, "Oh, just like what kind of album was I've heard it before," but like it was just like an album like you can cope to, because there's just like it's like depression and obsession, you know. And you have like F Love, and you have like Jocelyn Flores, rest in peace to Jocelyn Flores, and then you have all these songs, you know, like. It's just crazy, you know?
Yeah, no, that album definitely put him on, like, the mainstream map, too. Like, I remember, like, X was definitely, like, a mainstream artist kind of before that point, but then once he released that album, everybody was like, damn. Like, you know what I mean? People felt that because it was different. It was, like, emotional type stuff. But, yeah, I don't know, bro. Like, his artistry was just so diverse. It's crazy because we're not going to see anything that organic like that again. You know what I mean?
In at least a couple.
In at least a couple years. I mean,
a decade probably.
You know, people nowadays are trying to like make different kinds of music, but now everybody's trying to be diverse all of a sudden. Yeah, and I think X put that influence on a lot of rappers.
Even like short songs.
Even short
like
songs.
Very short songs.
Very
like
short
2-minute
songs get straight to the point.
Yeah.
But
because the way he described it was like fast food music.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was like. But like he didn't really describe it himself as like, he just like, oh, you know, there's like a lot of like fast food music out there, and you know, for our art, you know, we just like do it, you know. Like,
I just remember too, like seeing an interview with X and DJ Academics.
Oh yeah, the 3-hour one.
The 3-hour interview that they had together. You know, they were on FaceTime
talking about a lot of stuff.
X basically talked about, you know, the mainstream music, like kind of like we were saying, the whole SoundCloud wave, and he was basically saying, I have to do this type of stuff on purpose. I have to dumb myself down. I have to make some type of catchy, hype beat type of song, because that's what these kids like. That's what they want to hear. That's what's going to attract them. But at the end of the day, he was like, I know this is not really what I want to do all the time. Like, yeah, it's fun, but he's like, I want to make music that's also more serious and more appealing and more meaningful. So I just think that was crazy that he even mentioned that, because it's like everybody just follows the norm nowadays. Like, every rapper is kind of just doing the same thing, flexing chains. Like I always say, he was willing to step up and just be himself. Like, he didn't care what the media would think about him. He didn't care what people thought. If he wanted to do a kind of genre, he would just do it. He would break the norm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he didn't have that mentality of like, I wasn't scared or anything. And that's just, that's inspiring to me, man.
He always talks
especially
about,
at a young age like that. Like, that's definitely inspiring, bro. What were you saying?
Oh, sorry, my phone was going off.
That's all good.
It's just a lot, because he always talked about like, he kind of spoke out, like he spoke to existence a lot of things.
Yeah.
And then like how he would change people's lives, like death, like, you know, eventually when it came to death, then it's unfortunate. We don't, you know, like we don't really. I mean, it happened, but we don't really focus on that.
Yeah,
because
right.
We're not like.
I mean, it's like, what's the point of focusing on that? I mean, his impact is still there.
Yeah.
Regardless of the amount of hate that he still receives the same amount of
It's
love.
always headlines.
Yeah.
People read a headline saying X is homophobic because of the interview with No Jumper. And the interview with No Jumper, to get into that, he was talking about how Broward County was. He talked about like his mom. Basically he loved his mom, and he knew that his mom was doing some stuff. He even protected his mom from a couple people. He was really violent. You know, and it came to the point where he kind of stabbed some people, and then he was talking about going to he met Ski in jail. Yeah. And he was there for like a lot of charges, like a lot of
robbery charges,
gun charges, like it's like GTA, it's like a lot of stuff. I'm not sure like this
GTA type violence.
Yeah, it's like a lot. But then basically the people to get like into it, basically he was talking about how he beat up a gay person. Or what was a gay person basically.
So basically what happened the story was basically like the guy was just hella staring at him while he was naked. Yeah. He was like getting out of the shower, and he felt uncomfortable.
Yeah, because X was in the shower butt naked, and he was in his corner, and then the guy was right there.
The guy was totally there. And I mean, again, like it didn't give him I don't think anybody really agrees that he had the right to just fucking kick his butt or anything like that. But I think it just comes down to the point where like he felt threatened because he told the guard. But everyone takes that out of context.
Because the way he explained it was jail can change you, like the mindset.
People don't realize that makes you crazy.
Because he was saying that just knowing that people are crazy in there makes you crazy.
Yeah.
And like you can see, he was talking about Ski Mask was talking about how this guy was like listening to the walls because he was hearing music or something. And then like
I mean, people don't understand what it's like. I mean, obviously we've never been in jail, but like I mean that's probably like hell on earth, bro. Like literally just being trapped in a cell all day. Like I wouldn't be surprised if I did something
with
like
this
that,
guy
bro.
that is making him uncomfortable because he told the guards, hey, if he does something to me, I'm gonna do something. Yeah. And then they respected him because he was a man of his word. Eventually when it came down to what happened. Because he beat up the guy eventually, he basically like stomped on him. He did all that stuff, and he got caught. And then, but the way mainstream media portrayed it was as he hates,
Well, that's not the case, bro. I mean, honestly, when you want to kick someone's ass, you just want to kick someone's ass. Yeah. I don't think he was necessarily picking on him because you're gay. Yeah. Because I'm pretty sure.
No, because like he said in the interview,
he never even said like, I beat him up because he's gay. He just felt threatened.
It was just mainstream media like presenting that, but the way he said in the interview, he was like, I respect gay people. I don't hate them. And if you're doing something to me, like if you're like putting that stuff on me, then there's something up. But like I respect them. Yeah, and then like it's something at the end of the day where it's like mainstream media just kind of wants to get the negatives because they always want to get negatives and stuff.
And that's especially what they did with X. I mean, not to say yes, he did have a huge court case coming up, and there were a lot of accusations against him with his ex-girlfriend Geneva Alaya, but like I said, I mean, nothing that he ever did that was good or trying to better himself was ever portrayed. And I just think it's crazy because they always focus on the negative. But I guess at the end of the day, that's what the media does. They want to get the spiciest story out there because the spiciest story is what attracts people. People like negativity.
Because people like negativity, people like listening, people just like drama.
They like scandals, they like controversy.
And I'm not because like
we're not gonna lie.
We're not gonna lie, we can't just lie because I like drama, and
it's a human kind of thing.
It's a human thing, but then again, sometimes I'm like, that's not even necessary.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just going too far because I see this kid was like 18 years old, 19 years old, and it's just like, dude, like really, he's trying to just do his thing and make music.
We could be biased, I'm biased. I like X, Yeah. And because whatever happened with him in Geneva.
No, and like I mean, the thing my whole thing, right, is like I'm a very obviously I'm a big X fan, so that's why we're making this video. But my whole thing is just I recognize the wrong things he did. I think it's important to recognize it.
Yeah, you recognize it.
I just don't see. I don't see the point of going out of your way to go and just bash him on the internet. Because especially when there's so many other rappers that have done worse things or probably the same.
Because okay, so like we didn't really finish about the hair.
Yeah,
because we'll get into that, but he was bettering himself. He was doing his best. He was doing charities. He was donating. Yeah. He was spreading the word. He was just doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
And it came to the point, you know, where like, for instance, bringing out his hair. I forgot when it was, but he basically shaved his eyebrows. He got a tattoo of a tree on his head, and he basically dyed his hair gray.
And he was basically trying to make that his whole little point of like, hey, this is me saying I don't care how I look, I'm changing myself, I'm becoming a better person. That was like his little symbolic way. And some people, a lot of people will try to say is, well, he was only doing this because he had a court case coming up.
Yeah.
A lot of people will be like, he wasn't really genuine about changing. But honestly, I kind of doubt that. I mean, I don't think someone would put that much time, especially on social media, to just push themselves and make themselves look like a positive person. Because even when you look at his old videos, yeah, he was pretty messed up back then. He did some bad stuff, I'm not going to lie. But he always was genuine. He always was genuine.
He's always a genuine person.
Like, even when he had the black and blonde hair, he was always nice to his fans.
He was always nice, straight up.
Deep down, he's always been that same good person.
Yeah.
But he definitely did a lot of bad things and had a lot of demons. Like, that's just facts.
It just happened, you know?
You know what I mean? But who are we to judge at the end of the day?
Yeah, who are we to judge? Because people could look. In one of his, I believe it was a 2016, like, Periscope, right?
Yeah.
And, like, he was talking about the people that get it the hardest will succeed. Like you've been through a lot.
What happened to him?
You've been through a lot of crap. Like it's for anybody. Like you have been through a lot of stuff, and people don't know about this stuff. And people that get it the hardest succeed.
Yeah.
And you know, like for me personally, I haven't had the hardest like pass, right? And I can't just be like, you know, I acknowledge it though for other people because I know other people's like stories and stuff like that, and they are successful.
Yeah.
And like it's just because when you look at it, just it's inspirational, like because he's just at the end of the day he's trying to inspire people, and then eventually it came down to like him like getting his like last dyeing his hair, like you know he dyed his hair indigo or blue,
whatever you want to call it, right? Like, whatever it was.
And that was like that was basically just him like saying, okay, I'm better.
Yeah, I feel like
he was where he was at, like not yet, but he was like where he was getting at. Like
so, like the thing is, I feel like when X had the blue hair, that was probably his most comfortable place in life.
Yeah.
In my opinion, he wasn't getting into any drama. You know, he wasn't. He was like, doing the helping hand challenge.
He was broing some rappers, for instance. Like,
yeah, he was like DMing a bunch of rappers, saying he wanted to work with them, being really genuine to everybody. That was probably. I will say one thing. I think that. At least when he passed away, he was at a good point in his life. Yeah, like, I think for the most part, I think everybody can agree with that. You know, he wasn't. He was just kind of chilling. He was gonna buy a motorcycle just for himself. Yeah. I mean, I think he bought like what, his mom a house or something, like his grandma, his mom. He bought a bunch of property.
It's a lot of stuff. Like
there's a lot of things that
we don't know a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
We just know what we've
seen on the media.
But
there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff too, like people don't even realize. Like, you know, I saw some story about like it was on Instagram and someone was like, yeah, there was a back to school drive and X was like, I want to buy like a bunch of pencils and like backpacks for all these kids, and like none of this stuff gets portrayed in mainstream.
Sometimes, you know, like
that's what's crazy.
They just focus on the negative, because I remember on the same exact 3-hour interview with X, he was talking about, look, I'm gonna do this charity event for you know, I forgot what it was, but it was a charity event, and he basically said, I bet you they're gonna post something. Okay, so if they don't post it, because he was trying to make the point of that they post negative rather than the positive, right? Yeah. And he's like, I'm gonna do something, right? And if they don't post this, then if they post this, I'm gonna get a tattoo like on my butt saying complex. and then
he said that? I never knew he said that. Yeah, that's crazy.
It's like, but then like, it didn't happen. It was just a point, you know, saying like mainstream, like they don't focus on the positive,
right?
On the negative.
And I mean, I guess it's who's to say. I don't really know whose fault that would be, because I get it. Like that's just the way the human mind works. See, like we're to blame for it too, because we always fall for.
Because we're very young, so like
young people
we're
fall.
Understanding, and also like I feel like some people don't really. They don't.
Yeah.
So if you're older, you don't get it.
We just have to I'm just making the point clear of like, I'm not defending anything that he might have done. I'm not even saying it's okay.
I'm acknowledging it. But he acknowledged it too.
But the thing is like, you just gotta acknowledge it, and what you have to realize too is a lot of people have done these sort of things. A lot of rappers that people listen to, for example, Migos, Bobby Shmurda, other street rappers, NBA Youngboy. I mean, all these people probably lived some sort of hard life where they were raised in streets, and what do they do when they're in the streets? Look at 21 Savage. They did stuff like robbery.
They rap about what they did.
They did stuff like pulling up to people's houses and taking all their stuff. And is that a good thing? No, it's not. But nobody ever says anything about those guys. It's always on X. X is the bad one. And that's because the media has made it just to look that way. Am I saying it's okay? No, I'm not saying it's okay, but the whole like slander thing is just dumb. That's just my opinion. But I guess everybody's entitled to their own opinion.
It just happens, yeah.
But it just happens, and I think it just needs to be
opinion.
realized that his influence is going to go on, whether people like it or not. His streams are always going to be up, and it's crazy how much of an impact he's made on this generation. Like it's insane that he died so young. Like I still can't get over that simple fact of like that. Whenever I'm listening to his music, that's always what I think of. I'm just like, damn, what would have it been like?
Losing life, 20, even like earlier ages is like, it's like wow, they didn't get to experience life.
Just death in
like,
general is like,
yeah, it's
damn.
just death in general, but like death like at an early age.
Yeah,
it's just like you didn't get to experience
crazy.
life because for me, I haven't experienced life. Like I haven't even started my life. Like I haven't like I haven't even started my life, but just being able to not experience life, like having like kids, like going out there, like doing like certain things, like traveling, it's just something, you know. Like,
it's something, definitely. It's a lot of stuff, man. That is experience wise, and yeah, like I don't know, man. I still remember hearing about that like a year ago. I was at work. Yeah. I was literally at work when I heard about it.
I got off work,
and I checked my phone, and everybody was hitting me up, telling me, "Yo, dude, X just got shot, bro." And I was like, "No way." I was like, I didn't believe it at first. I was like, well, I believed he got shot, but I was like, damn, like, he's gonna make it, though. Because usually, like, you hear about stories like that, like, especially with the artists, I'm like, they usually go to the hospital, they're okay. But they literally shot him, I think it was, like, in the neck or something.
It was, like, somewhere, like, in this area.
Neck and, like, chest area. And
because,
I was like,
the video,
holy crap, bro, he's gone.
There was a video that was, like, posted by someone, and then it was getting spread around, but then eventually, you know, people, even, I think the family, even like, yeah. People were saying, take it down.
People are still posting that, making memes about it.
And like, I saw a meme about it like earlier. Yeah. And, you know, of course, it's funny, but also it's kind of effed up.
Yeah, and I mean, we were talking about that in our last podcast.
We're talking about dark humor. Like, I love dark humor, but it's also kind of like, damn, it's like.
Yeah, y'all had to really go there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's just sad.
You know, yeah, no. It's just I remember still hearing about that, and like honestly, it's crazy how, like, for me, because I never tripped over, like, a celebrity death that much, or, like, an artist death, because I'm like, I didn't know this person, like, they may have done something great, they may have made great music, they may have had a good impact, but if I didn't know them personally, I'm not gonna start.
Because I didn't even know X personally.
Yeah, I'm not gonna start like getting sad over it. That was the first time I actually felt like, damn, this is sad, bro.
Because like his message resonated with you.
There was like a dark cloud over that day. Like I remember, like, because I went through Instagram too, and like everybody was depressed on Instagram too. Like,
yeah, I knew a couple of friends that were like depressed. But didn't believe it.
Yeah.
And for me, it took me harder to hit me because I mean I was there since 2017. I was there since like late 2016, right. And I low key at this point, like I was kind of like in the air with like keeping up with like the hip hop genre because I don't know why, but it hit me later basically. It was sad though because I remember that day I was going to my friend's house, and then literally like I saw that he got shot. People were posting, "Pray for X."
Pray for X, yeah, I remember that.
And then like not even like 30 minutes, like an hour later, like. Rest in peace, X. Oh, they didn't say it. No one said it at first.
But then he was pronounced dead.
Yeah, then he was pronounced dead.
And like, I kind of thought to myself, like at first, I was like, nah, there's no way that could be real. Like, give him some more time. Give it a couple hours. Like, he's still alive. He's gonna make it through. And then the news kind of just hit, and I was like, damn, bro. Like, and I think that goes to show, like, there was no other really artist, at least that I can name, that really had that cult connection with their fan base. I mean, this man would go on live and he'd talk like. When you talk to his fans, it would be like he's talking to a friend, and I think that's why people like him so much. Because like when you go on the live streams, he'd be like, "Oh, I love you guys," whatever. Like you felt like you weren't talking to someone that was a celebrity. You felt like you were talking to someone you knew for a couple years. Yeah, that's something that I could always respect because I don't like people that are egotistical or that think they're too good for everybody. Like I like people that are humble, and basically he embodied that personality.
Yeah, because the way he said it was. I forgot what video it was, but I think it was a video that he was just like recording himself. He was just like, "You guys are my family."
Yeah, for real.
And then he was like, "I'm doing this for you guys."
That's what people respected so much. Like, not to call out other rappers, but like, there's so many other artists where you can't see them doing that same thing. They're just in this industry just to kind of get a check and just kind of move on. But with X, it was different, man. Like, he was trying to make some type of impact, especially with young kids. because he wanted to help young kids because he never had that good childhood. You know what I mean? The childhood that he couldn't have because of his mom, because of his father, and that's just gonna go so far. You know, people don't see that was one of the biggest things. One of the most beautiful things about it is that he really just wanted to help people, and that influence is never gonna go away. It's always gonna resonate with people if they were fans, if you followed him on Instagram, because like you said, you know, you've been following him since like 2016, 2017, and that's when he was posting all this stuff, connecting with fans. And a lot of people didn't even catch up to him until after all of that, not until 2018.
Yeah, I wasn't like that. No, I knew what happened.
They never got to see what kind of person.
Yeah, they never got to see the person because like I have a couple family members.
Yeah.
And I have a couple friends, and they just don't like him because they don't like him.
Yeah.
Their opinion.
And it's respectable. I respect people's opinions. I'm not trying to say this man was a complete saint or anything. I'm just trying to say, you know, this is the reason why things are the way they are, you know?
Because everyone has like demons.
Everyone has
demons. Like
there was a different presence when it came to X. I mean, he talked about a lot of stuff that other artists wouldn't want to discuss, such as like astral projection, frequencies in music, the government in music, all this crazy stuff.
About, like third eye and like a cage, like it was talking about like a lot of stuff, like just loving yourself.
And that's why, like, I just think like, damn, this guy, like, this kid was smart, like compared to like these other guys, like, damn, like he definitely knew. It's almost like he knew too much at some point. You know what I mean?
Because like eventually it comes down to like conspiracy theory
of like it's almost like he knew too much, and like they were like, even academics asked him, was like, dude, you might be too influential or something like that because you know a lot, like. No one else is speaking on this kind of stuff like you are, you know what I mean? You're a different kind of energy.
Yeah.
But I always respect people that are like that and that are, they keep it 100 like that. They're not afraid to sugarcoat anything. Because that's the problem in this music industry is like, there's so many people that are just in it for a check nowadays. And like, it's just getting annoying to the point where like, I don't know, man. It's saturated as hell. So that's one thing I'm always going to respect. And that's why I'm always going to keep listening, you know? Rest in peace to the homie.
Yeah, it's like, I'll tell you, even his family, like, Cleo, his mom, just, your son did a lot to, like, for this generation. I'm pretty sure you get reminded of this every day.
Yeah, for real.
Like, I'm not sure if you're going to watch this Cleo, but, like, your son did a lot, and I know you get that a lot, but thank you.
Yeah, that's all that, I mean, other than that, there's not really much I have to say about that. I mean, it's just going to be remembered as one of the icons. I think as years go on, people are gonna play his music even more. Or it's just gonna be more remembered. I mean, I don't think it's ever gonna die out. Not to say, almost on the same level. I don't want to compare as Tupac kind of had.
I was gonna say something about earlier about like because you talked about 5 years, like what he's wait 5 years. But what about Tupac? Like what about because like he the whole thug life. I forgot the abbreviation means, but he just did a lot for his community. And
he came from a bad background as well. Think about it. He was out here in the streets, and then he became memorized as one of the greatest rappers to ever live. Yeah, I'm not saying X is at that level yet, but he has almost a similar impact of like this was someone that was trying to change his life around, that had a huge impact, that was breaking the boundary.
I feel like it's different things because.
But they're both going to be remembered.
Definitely. I don't want to say anything about like the GOAT. Because the greatest of all time, but
and it's not even that; it's more just a remembrance kind of thing.
Yeah, because
influence.
Tupac did a lot for his community, and just telling you about the man, the whole manhood stuff.
Yeah.
And for X, it was mostly mental health and just loving yourself, and then just loving yourself and being one with you. And I have to thank him for that because honestly, I'm currently struggling with overthinking a lot of the things. I'm currently just stressed out with a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I just have to take a step back.
Take a step back, literally, like the song.
Literally, because everyone's dealing with something. Everyone could be I'm good now, or just whatever. But thank you.
Yeah.
Basically.
I just think it's also crazy too how after his death, we see all these things going on. We see posthumous albums. We see Skins, which is one of the last albums he released, and now they're making a documentary, which I think is even crazy.
Yeah, because the documentary looks like it's like he actually recorded it, or he was aware of it that was happening because in this like the little snippet we had of it, it was like I'm gonna tell my story for the last time. So
yeah, and it goes to show like I wonder if this was more of like a discontinued like side project, or they knew, or like maybe he was supposed to document his entire life because in the video he has like the black and blonde hair. There's no more recent scenes, and it's like he knew he was being recorded. So I wonder if like. I wonder what their intention was with this sort of set. Like, were they trying to like make this a little side project and then they discontinued it, or they were even recording the whole thing up until his death? You never know.
It could have been anything. Well,
it could have been anything.
Wait for it because also there's another one with Lil Peep called Everybody's Everything.
Yeah.
And there's this rest in peace Lil Peep, rest in peace Fredo Santana, rest in peace Mac Miller, rest in peace. There's so many people that passed away.
So many
artists,
people,
even just anybody in your guys' lives.
Yeah.
And like it's just we have to give respect where it's due, and take their values, and make us a better person.
Yeah.
And we gotta spread their name. We gotta remember them.
For real. I think that's pretty much all I gotta say. What about you?
Like, all I'm gonna say is for what I'm getting from this is like we gotta take the stuff that we're talking about. And we gotta use it to make us a better person.
Yeah.
And just like even do stuff like better than they did. Like I don't want to mean like in a bad way, but just like because they would want us to do stuff that's better, like greater than they did.
For real.
And so like if it's like the smallest thing or whatever, like we gotta go.
Yeah, so I guess I'll wrap it up right here. We've been kind of rambling on for a while.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Rest in peace to X, you know what I'm saying? He's always going to be remembered, always one of my favorite artists. I can't believe it's been a year already.
Yeah.
But the influence will never go away. Rest in peace to the homie. Gang, gang.
Rest in peace, X.
Ramblers Podcast. Comment, subscribe, all the good stuff.
Hey!
Hey!
Okay.
Sorry.
You go right here, right?
Damn, that was hella long.